go. All right, guys. I think we got audio going now. Sorry about that. How we sounding now? Good? Should have audio up and running. Sorry about that, guys. All right, cool. I'm glad we got audio. This thing's very finicky. I'll test it before I start. Again, I apologize for that. And then for some reason, whenever we go to actual live, the audio wants to go hide. So it may take me anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to go find it. Super weird, but we found it. But anyway, what we're looking at is the stereo spacecraft. Been viewing this for a long time. And there was this unique wheel that was discovered by, at least pointed out to me by Planet X News. And that's where I got the original video from. And I'm going to share that with you here in just a moment. In fact, it's right here. He sent me this video back on Tuesday. He found this like a week ago on the, maybe even longer than that, the stereo spacecraft, Stereo A. This was launched in 2006. It's been up there for about 14 years. What you were looking at before the video started, or before I came on, was a loop from back in 2007 when this instrument was first being calibrated. And the object you see in the middle of the screen is Earth, right in the center. That's why it's up there, to observe the Earth and how it reacts and responds to the sun, which is over on the far left. Earth in the center. And what you were watching at the very beginning of the video, which I'll go back to it real quick, that is this spacecraft getting dialed in to planet Earth. That's what it was doing. That's why you see all the light flashes. You can actually see the Milky Way galaxy in the background. Pretty cool. And this has been up there for quite some time. But Planet X News sent me this back a week ago. Nearly a week ago. In fact, I've got the message he shared with me right here. And this is just a screenshot of the message he posted in a video. He says, "Can you do me a favor and check out the latest video on my channel?" He says, "I caught this giant space wheel on the stereo SEECHI spacecraft camera. Created HD photos of this thing. Said this is the second time in 2 years that it's just appeared." And there it is. Looks exactly like a very large wheel in space. And if you were to look at that at face value, you have no indication of how far away it is, but at that size there, it looks bigger than any planet you see. You know, that's Earth again in the middle, so that would be bigger than Earth if it's anywhere close to Earth or that far away from the spacecraft. So it'd be a very large wheel if in fact it was a wheel in space, which I'm not the oracle on this instrument. I am very familiar with it as I've used it for many years. And I've seen a lot of different things on here. And here is the loop that you guys were watching. This is from 2007, February and March of 2007, when it was getting dialed in. You don't even see Earth in the middle of the screen. It's trying to get focused in on Earth. And then once it gets locked into position, in one of the Lagrange positions, which this is kind of, I don't even think it's in an L point anymore. It might be, but it was trying to get locked into Earth. Now it's kind of on the backside of the sun, and we're looking at things from a slightly different angle, but nevertheless it keeps Earth in the center of the video that you see, and all the photos, or most of the photos I think include Earth. I know the video loops do, but that's why we're seeing all of these anomalies, because sunlight is getting inside the instrument. What you see over here on the far right is part of the instrument. Looks like a wing over there on the far right hand side. That's part of the instrument and part of the the gears, mechanics, whatever, that make all this thing work. And every once in a while, certain times of the year, I have seen, in fact, I did a video myself many years ago, back in 2009, something came across, or 2011, something came across the top that indeed looked like a large triangle right up there. There's a video that I put up in 2011, 9 years ago. See that triangle looking thing up in the top right hand corner? Well, in front of that, it's very, very difficult to see. There's a circle. It's very faint. It's just very thin. You can't hardly see it, but it's right there in the front, and it looks like it looks like a wheel. It's been doing that for quite some time. We'll go to 2009 here in a minute. You'll see another example of that wheel. So it's one of two things. Something's either orbiting Earth or orbiting in the solar system with the Earth that we don't know about. Or like here in 2007, you see that big ring right there? Let me pause it real quick and go back. Check this out. See this big loop over here on the far right hand side? See that? This thing's known for putting up, different types of anomalies and stuff like that. But I will say this wheel is very clear. Doesn't look like a typical triangle or reflection things like I've seen in the past. It's pretty good, but I will say, based off of my experience with this thing and this instrument, and I go way back with this thing, over 12 years, I've seen quite a bit on this instrument. So, if it were a planet-sized object orbiting the Earth or orbiting in the solar system that big, I think somebody would have probably seen it by now. There it is right there. And these are some images that I took and worked a little bit to try to get a better view of this wheel, whatever it may or may not be. Here you can see it moving across the screen from right to left. Basically, it's moving right towards Earth, according to this instrument. What you see here in the center on the left side of Earth, that's Venus. And then you also see Mercury in the field of view. And if I'm not mistaken, one of these is probably Jupiter. I'm not sure which one. Probably this one over here. But these are the interior planets. That might be Mars. Yeah, that's Mars, Earth, Venus, and Mercury. And that's what's in the field of view right now, pretty much, with that camera. And here comes that wheel-looking anomaly. Here it is up real close, but I want you to pay attention. This is very important. Pay attention to what's in front of the wheel. Not necessarily the wheel itself. Yeah, it's kind of cool to look at, but look way out here in front of the wheel. You're going to see something that's bigger than the sun. Okay, this is bigger than a planet, but look out here. See this big bow? Check it out. Look at that bow out in front of that wheel. See that? It just eclipsed Jupiter, and now that bow is headed towards Earth. Look, see it right there? Kind of hard to miss. Look at that. All right, and then if you look really super close, I know it's hard to see, but you can see the same type of, see that little arrow there? There's an arrow there. There's 4 arrows or points inside that original wheel right there. If you look at the larger one here, you'll see the same exact thing in the center. Again, this is a wing or it looks like a wing, but it's part of the spacecraft that shows up in the video. It has since day one, clear back in 2006. But here are those arrows. They're just larger. See the little arrows there, the points? They're over here too. And watch this big wave overtake the entire inner solar system. See that? Well, it's part of this wheel anomaly. Here it is again. It's in a little better view. See it right here in the front? I mean, if that were actually in space, it would be bigger than the orbit of Mars. That's how big that arc is right there in the front of the wheel. See, it just eclipsed Mars. It's headed towards Earth right now. Just incredibly big. The wheel, based off of what we see here, is planet-sized. If in fact it were a wheel in space, which to me, I don't know for sure. Like I said, I'm not the oracle of science when it comes to this spacecraft. I am very familiar with it as I've been using it for 13 years. So I've seen a lot of these things on here before, and Planet X News has seen it now for 2 years. I think more than likely it's a trick of light. You know, light is the ultimate trickster. Speaking of tricks, real quick, since we're here, I want to apologize for posting this photo here real quick. I'm actually quite surprised I missed this over here on the right, but you guys, wide awake and on the ball, didn't miss it. And you can see over here on the right-hand side, and we'll point it out, see the tree branches in the clouds? Look at that. I don't know how I missed that. Very sorry. I didn't do that on purpose. So please accept my humble apologies. I was focused on the accordion-looking clouds in the sky that were kind of, I don't know, I've never seen anything quite like it. The person's email seemed legit. They said they were looking east towards China Lake in Southern California. Saw that in the sky. And if you look at the photograph, you can see it looks like they stepped out of their car, took a photo of the sky, and emailed it to me. And I saw it, glanced at it, and I thought, okay, that's kind of neat. I didn't think it was a manipulated photo. If it was, or if I'd have seen that over there on the right-hand side like a lot of you guys did, good job, thank you. And if you see any more that you think are manipulated, by all means, let me know. I want to know about it. I'm not in the business of putting up fake photos. You don't have to. Just go look in the sky. Spend 10-15 minutes a day looking around up in the sky. You'll see something unique to take a photo of. We don't have to fake photos here, and we don't. So that one just got by me, and I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have put that up. If I'd have seen that over there, I wouldn't have done it. So don't do that on purpose, guys. And so, again, accept my apology. I would have never put that up on purpose. And that was sent to me by somebody named Kay Lynn right there. So in the future, I won't be accepting any more photos from that person because that's definitely manipulated, not something I would do on purpose. So again, I'm very sorry, guys. But back to the big wheel in space. I'm just going to be honest, based off of what we're seeing in front of the wheel. See it moving there? That's the size of the orbit of Mars. See the big, it looks like a translucent halo in front of the one that looks more solid. You can see it moving out front. That's the size of the orbit of Mars. That's how big that is. The wheel itself's like 3 times bigger than Earth. So your average backyard astronomer would probably have multiple pictures of this wheel, unless it's just invisible to the telescopes and naked eye and you can't see it. Then, you know, I guess that's a possibility. That's a long shot. But this spacecraft, over the years, I've seen several anomalies show up on this spacecraft with regard to light. And it's always, it seems like, just so you guys know, it always seems like it happens after the first of the year. Usually after January, when we're going into spring, sometimes these things show up. Not always, but it's usually around the end of the year going into a new year or into late winter, early spring. You'll see these types of anomalies, and I think it's just a little trick of light and the angle of this thing. The one that I showed you here at the beginning was from 2007, and this was during a solar minimum. It was, I think, October of 2000. No, that's when it was launched. It was launched in October of 2006. This anomaly that you're seeing here is in March of 2007. And there's a lot of anomalies on here, but one common denominator that we still see today, 14 years later, is this wing-looking thing over here on the right. And I don't even know how this happened here, what you're seeing. It's just some sort of a very weird anomaly that showed up as they were trying to get this thing focused on Earth. All they were doing was configuring the instrument to get it locked into place. That's all. So as it was tilting and doing maneuvers, you can see light coming in over here on the left. That really was not occurring. That is light leaking through a very little bitty slit. And it looks like it's lighting up the entire solar system. And it's not. This thing, if you've never used it and you come on here, you're thinking, okay, there's something now the size of Jupiter's orbit entering the solar system from the right. You've got the left-hand side of the solar system being inundated with light, when in all reality, there's really not too much going on. It's just the instrument's way of processing loose light. When light gets on the loose inside these instruments, even your camera, even your smartphone, it's going to create anomalies that really look bizarre, much like this wheel here. Again, not 100% sure that's what's going on here, but I have a pretty good feeling that is no more than a trick of light. But Planet X News did a very good job of looking at it through different types of filters and techniques, and really brings it forward really, really good. You can see detail on this thing, so maybe there is a little something to it. I don't know. I think it's a long shot, though. I think it's just a simple trick of light, but you never know. Could be something else going on. But that hasn't, or that's not the first time that's showed up. It was up on this instrument in 2009. In fact, I'll take you back real quick and show you one more example of this thing. Here we go. 2009, we'll go to February, and then 2009, we'll go to March. Check it out. And you can see it again. Watch. And it's in about the same position. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's in the same position, I think. Yeah, here we go. Whoop. That's a little small. We want to be able to see it. We want a slideshow. Okay, here we go. Now, this year it wasn't as profound. You can see it. Yeah, it's in the same general position, just below that wing over on the right. See it coming in? This is 2009, about the same time of year. This is in February of 2009. That's why I say something about the new year, the end of a year, late winter, early spring. You'll see this thing show up. And I think it's just the position of the craft. See it right here? I know it's tough to see, but there it is right there. I've got it magnified. See it right there? Moving across the screen from right to left. Same position as the one that we've seen just here this past week. See it right there? And it's even got a unique feature out in the front of it. That looks like the triangle thing I saw back in 2011. And it's right there. See it? And the one that we're looking at now, if the instrument clears back up to where we can see, right now it's all distorted, and it's got a lot of interference. It does that every so often. You'll be able to see this type of, I don't know, it looks like some sort of a radar out in front of it, but it's not. It's just the light, trick of light. Light is the ultimate trickster. Here it goes. This is from 2009, 11 years ago. And we were still in solar minimum. Not that that necessarily has anything to do with this, but we were in a solar minimum, coming out of solar minimum, starting to. There it is right there. And if I move it faster, you can probably see it a little easier. Let me step it up a little bit. See it right there? And it's got like a big radar beam shooting out the front of it, or at least that's what it looks like. And it's not. It's just a reflection of some piece of equipment inside of this instrument that's been up there for 14 years now. Here comes the wheel, or what looks like a wheel. See it? Kind of hard to miss. That's 2009. I think there's another example in 2012, or the one I saw in 2011 up here, and then the one, of course, in 2020. But I saw it 2 years ago, and when I first saw it, I got to be completely honest, I didn't know what it was. I thought there was a big ship out there as well. If you've never used this instrument, you're not familiar with its personality and how it reacts to light at certain times of the year, then these things do look very, very mysterious. But Planet X News found the original one, and that was a good observation. It looks really neat. It does almost look like it's turning a little bit clockwise. When you move fast, you can see the center of this thing leaning to the left. It's turning just a little bit as it's moving through this field of view here, clockwise. I think that's the instrument rotating clockwise. The spacecraft itself. The stereo spacecraft is, if we look at the latest position, where are they? Here's where they are right now with respect to Earth. Stereo B is over here to the right, and that is an L position. That's called a Lagrange position. Stereo A is over here to the left, right over here just at the, let's say this is 6 o'clock Earth, 12 o'clock being the sun or just beyond the sun. A is around the 9 o'clock position, 8:30 position. B is around the 3:30 position with respect to the sun. And the planets that we were looking at in the field of view just a few seconds ago, one was Mercury, one was Venus, and the other one should have been over here, Jupiter. And I'll show you why. I think it was Jupiter. At first I thought it was Mars, but I think Mars is too far. No, it is Mars. I take that back. We were using stereo A. So we were looking at Mercury, Venus, yeah, and Mars. It was Mars. We looked at this yesterday. That's the solar system and the current position of the planets right now as I do this video. So anyway, guys, that's where we're at with the stereo spacecraft. Neat things going on up there. If you're a daily observer of this thing, you will see some neat things on here. We'll see comets on here. You'll see sometimes really big comets. The comet that's inbound right now, Comet Atlas, more than likely will be visible on this spacecraft. I've seen several comets on here, and they're quite phenomenal. And if we see any coming up in the future, yeah, we'll share them. What we're looking at over here on the left, that's the edge of the Milky Way galaxy in the background of this instrument. So it's a really cool instrument. I've always been very intrigued by what these instruments have to show. The Soho instruments, the stereo instruments, they're really, really neat. They're cool, especially during solar maximum. You can see some very fascinating stuff. So I'm looking forward to Comet Atlas coming in, and we'll be able to see it over here on the right-hand side. It'll look like it's coming up. If my perspective is correct on this thing, it'll look like it's coming upward, I think, on the right-hand side. It'll be coming towards the sun, either from up here at the 2 o'clock position or the 5 o'clock position. And if it's anything like any of the other comets we've seen in the past, it'll develop a fairly large tail. I've seen really large tails on here before. I've seen dual tails on here before. And then I've seen some very small, long, narrow ones. All different shapes and sizes. So I have no idea what to expect from Atlas, but we'll have to wait and see. So I look forward to it. And that'll be about a month and a half away. Look forward to that. Tomorrow night is the supermoon. Don't forget that. Go over here. Oh, we're going to look at the Schumann real quick while I'm here. But tomorrow, supermoon, full moon. If conditions are favorable, I'll at least record it. If I can do a live stream, I will, of the moon coming up over the horizon. You guys might have a better perspective of it than me, because right now it's cloudy and it does look like there's rain on the way. So we'll take the rain. We could always use rain out here, but I just wish it wouldn't do it on the supermoon day, but if it does, it does. Schumann looks pretty good right now. Can't say I see anything on here that looks unusual. Looks fairly normal, you know. Schumann looks good. Nothing like we saw yesterday. You can see there were a couple of spikes, actually 3, off and on throughout the whole day. Activity for almost 24 hours straight of some degree. Some larger than others, but it was feeling something yesterday. That's the frequency of planet Earth. Planet Earth's frequency has always been measured at around 7.8 hertz, 7.83, 7.86. And when it spikes up into the 40 region, like you see right here, that means the atmospheres, the energies of Earth are amplified, you know, for a variety of reasons that sometimes we don't know. And that was one of those examples right there. The Schumann frequency was amplified, you know, for an hour. Right around an hour, maybe a little less. It was very strong. Between 4 and 5 on here, that's not our local time. This is about 12, 14 hours ahead of our local time. So, you know, at that respective time, it was amplified for about an hour. Pretty strong. Pretty strong. So, don't know what's causing that, but we do know tomorrow is the full moon, supermoon, and they call it the earthworm moon. I think because at times over the years, when this moon occurred in March, on certain occasions, earthworms came out of the earth in certain locations. So, if what I read was correct. But anyway, we should have a spectacular moon tomorrow night. That is, if conditions are favorable in your neck of the woods. And once again, please accept my apologies for this bogus photo. I had no idea that was there. And there's no need to do that, guys. You guys have sent me in some spectacular photos over the years. I probably received over 30,000 photos. And at least known to me, I would have never put one up that was fake. There's no need to. You guys send in awesome photos, so no need to send in fake photos, guys. Seriously, that's not necessary. Not necessary. But anyway, you can check out the original Space Wheel video at the link provided below in the description box. Make sure you go over and check that out and subscribe to Planet X's channel. They do great updates all the time. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.